Hey guys, here we go. So let's take a look at problem number one. It says y equals 3 over x squared minus 4. So now the first thing when you see these kind of problems, these are rationals. What you're going to do is you're going to factor the top and factor the bottom. Now, the top doesn't factor, so just leave it alone. And the bottom does factor. Now, we have these questions that we have to answer. All right, so now let's go through where do you find them? The roots are in the numerator. The roots are from the numerator. Vertical asymptotes are from the denominator. Horizontal have three cases. Three cases. If the bottom has a bigger power on the x, which is this case, it's going to be the x-axis, the y-intercept, the y equals 0. If the top has a bigger power, then there is no horizontal. And finally, if they're the same degree, same powers, then it's going to be a ratio of Lie coefficients. Holes are any if they cancel. If something cancels, then that's a hole. The y-intercept is the back numbers, the back regular numbers. So let's jump right to the y-intercept because that's the easiest. So the y-intercept is -3/4. Now, if you want, you can say y equals. That's fine. The only ones that are equations here are the verticals and the horizontals. They must be as an equation. Let's go through this. The holes, nothing canceled, so there are no holes. The roots, there's no x in the numerator. There are no roots. Vertical asymptotes. Now we look downstairs. So I have -2 and +2. So this one has two vertical asymptotes. So it'd be x equals -2, x equals +2. Horizontal. Now we talked about the three cases. So now this one has a bigger degree downstairs because there's no x's upstairs. So it's going to be the x-axis, which is y equals 0. So now we haven't done anything yet. I haven't typed it in, but I'm thinking it's going to go like this. -2, +2. I'm going to make my dotted lines for my asymptotes, and it's going to go along the x-axis also. And it's going to cross off. This is -1. It's going to cross over here at -3/4. No roots. But I don't know the shape. Well, that's where a number line comes in handy. So on my number line, I'm going to put my key values, which happen to be, for this problem, -2 and +2. Now, we're just learning how to do this. So if you want, we can graph it on a calculator. That's not a problem. So I'm going to turn the calculator on, go to y equals, and make sure you use parentheses when you do the bottom. So 3 divided by x squared minus 4. Always type in the original. Okay, so now let's see how we can do that with this. So -2 and +2, those are my asymptotes, so that's good. Now let's go to my number line here. Since these are asymptotes, these are not roots, I'm going to make these open circles because they're not roots. I'm not going to color them in. And I want to check the zones here. So I can check a number over here like a -3, something in the middle like a 0, something on this side like a 3. And on my number line, the only thing I care about is it a positive number or a negative number. Now I could plug in and do this. All right, I could. I know how to do it. But just to save time, I'm going to go to my table, and I'm going to get some of the values. So at -3, it's positive 0.6. So it's positive. At 0, it's a negative number. And +3, it's positive again. Now, what's this telling me? So the graph has to be up here to the left of -2. And so, colors. That's this curve like this. Notice it is not crossing. There's no roots. Never touch the vertical. And then this is my intercept. And see how it goes? It's telling me it's negative. And I know so I can't go up because there's no root. So this has to go down like this. And finally, this is positive once again. Something like this. And of course, yours is going to look a little nicer. Mine's it's a little tough with the computer. Try that again. And a lot of times you'll see there's certain symmetry. Not always, but sometimes. And I call this f of x. This is really called y. So I'm just going to call it f of x in my drawing. Usually they would be called functions f of x. And don't forget to label the axes, x and y. Let's try it again. So what you're going to want to do is you want to factor the top and factor the bottom. And that's where we're going to get our information from. So factor the top, factor the bottom. X plus 4, x minus 2 upstairs, downstairs, x minus 2. Now, with this one, these terms cancel. If something cancels, that's the whole. So the whole is happening at, now the whole's a point. The x value would be a 2. Well, if the whole's a point, I need to find the y value. So now this is really cool. What you do is you take this 2, the x value, and you plug it in to whatever's left in the problem. And that's the y value. So 2 plus 4 is 6. I know the whole is at 2, 6. So whatever crossed out, I plug it into whatever's left. And that will give me the y value for the whole. Let's see what else we got here. Oh, I have something upstairs. There's an x upstairs. That's going to be the, now remember, now we got these choices. The root is upstairs. Now look, there was an x minus 2 upstairs, but you can't be a root and a whole at the same time. So when you cross, the whole wins. So you cross out whatever's left, that's going to be my root, is this one over here. So it would be, if it's positive 4, x equals negative 4 is the root. What else we got? Vertical asymptotes. Vertical asymptotes are whatever's left downstairs. There is nothing downstairs. This does not have vertical asymptote. Horizontal asymptote. You have 3 cases. If the degree is bigger downstairs, it's the x-axis. If the degree is bigger upstairs, there is no horizontal. So the degree here is a 2, degree here is 1. So there is no horizontal. Finally, the y-intercept. You look at the back numbers. This would be the y-intercept. Negative 8 divided by negative 2 is positive 4. So the y-intercept is 4. You can just put a number here. That's fine. I could have just put a number here. If I want to say it's y equals 4, it's fine. The only 2 things that are equations you must have the letter are these 2. Vertical and horizontal asymptotes. Those are always equations. So before we graph on the calculator, let's just try it. Let's just see now. So this time I have negative 4 as a root. So I'll put negative 4 here. That's a root, so I can color that in. That's solid. I know it crosses there. So I have 2 zones to worry about. 2 zones. So I got a negative 5 over here, and let's say a 0, because zeros are easy to check. All right, now if I plug in 0, 0 goes away. I get negative 8 over negative 2, which is 4, which happens to be the y-intercept. That's why the y-intercept is wherever x is 0. Now, I don't care if it's a 4. What I care about is it's a positive 4. Now let's try this negative 5. Negative 5 squared is 25 plus, well, it'd be negative 10, negative 18. Well, it's still a positive number. I don't know what it is off the top of my head, but I know it's a positive number. And then I got downstairs, that'd be a -7. So it's a positive over a negative. I don't know what the number is. I really don't care. I think it works out to be -1 or something. All I know is it's a negative number. So now let's check this out here. So I got -4 as a root. So I'm going to go over here. Let's call this -4. And that's a root. So that's solid. But I have this other thing here, 2, 6. So, and the y-intercept is 4. So that's a 4. That's solid. Okay, and let's see what this says. So on this side, the left side, it's got to be, oh, this is interesting. Take a look at this. When I cross this out, all I get left is this y equals x plus 4. That's a line. That's just a straight line. So this graph, this rational, looks complicated to start with, but it's actually just a straight line. And the straight line goes like this. So it's negative on this side, goes positive. But at 2, 6, right, where it wants to go like this, there's a hole here at 6. And it goes like this. Let's punch that in our calculator to make sure, you know, I didn't mess anything up here. So I'm going to delete this stuff. We hit clear. And you're going to use parentheses. Be careful, parentheses. So it's x squared plus 2x minus 8. And then downstairs just x minus 2 in parentheses. And look at there. There's our straight line. And you really can't see if there's a hole here. So what I can do, though, is I can go to table if I wish. And I'll see at 0, it's 4. It's the y-intercept. If I scroll back, -4 was the 0. It's the root. And if you go to 2, that's where the error is. That's the hole. And then look at the numbers. It goes 3, 4, 5. It wants to be a 6. So that's how we got that right. And just label that f of x also. Let's try it again. All right. Here we go. What you want to do, you want to factor. It's a curvy line. All right. Hopefully you're done trying to factor because it doesn't factor. All right. Step 2. Let's go through our pieces. All right. It's probably best to start with the holes first because they kind of win. In a fight, holes win. Now look, nothing cancels. That means there are no holes. None. Roots. Roots are from the numerator. Okay, so x cubed, which means that would be, the root would be a 0. So I can just call that a 0. Vertical asymptote comes from downstairs. So if it says x plus 1, the vertical would be x equals -1. Horizontals have three cases. Bigger downstairs, y equals 0. Same power, same degree, it's a ratio of the lead coefficients. Top is bigger, no horizontal. This does not have a horizontal. Y-intercept, the ratio of the back numbers. Well, now look, you see this number here, this the numerator. If I put a 0, that would be the back number. And if I look at the back numbers, 0 and a 1, that means it is a 0. This is a little weird. Let's put some number line here. -1. What else I got? I got a 0. That's important. So the 0 is a root. So I can color that one in. That's definite. -1 is open. So I'm just going to leave that open. So now I need to go check some values on this thing. So I could check, like, let's say like a -2. I'd have to check like -0.5 and like, let's say a +1. Now, you should be able to do this by hand, but to save some time, let's just use our calculator and punch it in. Use parentheses. going to go right to the table. So let's look at the table. Negative 3 is positive, or negative 2, excuse me, still positive. Positive 8, so that's a positive. Negative 0.5 is not on here, so we talked about how to do this. So I said second table setup, put on ask, and go to table, and now there's nothing here. So now I'll just type in negative 0.5. So that's a negative. I don't care what the number is. All I care about is it's positive or negative. And I could do a 1 also. I could just punch in 1, ask it, and it's positive 0.5. So let's graph this a little bit. So I got a negative 1 here, and it's a vertical asymptote. So I'm going to graph it like this. Negative 1. At 0, I have a root, so I'm like locking it into place. The y-intercept is also there because it's right, you know. This is a little weird. So what we got here? This is, so here's negative. So from here it says it wants to be below. So it kind of wants to go curving to the asymptote, right? So it wants to curve like this. This one is positive, so it might be something like this. I really don't know where it is. You know, but something over here. I don't know what, but something over here. And then this thing wants to go positive. So it could go like this, or it could go like this. It could go, you know, straight line, you know, it could be all different things. So as we continue on in math, we will learn more tricks to do it. Let's take a look, see what the graph says. All right, so that's this, and this one wanted to go up like this. Okay, so it's not an asymptote, it's just going up. And then we got this crazy graph over here. It looks like this, kind of like a curved V. This one was a little crazy, X and Y. This is one I would definitely let you use a calculator to work with. And that's that. Take a look at number 4. What you need to do is factor the top, factor the bottom, and fill this out. See what you got. Go. These two things cancel out. What was it? If something cancels, you got to think about it. What was it? If something cancels, it's a whole. X minus 1 is the factor, so 1 is the x value. But I need a y value, so I got to put it on my graph somewhere. You take the 1 that was left, right, the 1 I found, plug it into whatever's left in the problem. 2 times 1 is 2. The whole is at 1, 2. I have this x upstairs. Which of these has something to do with the numerator? You find the roots in the numerator. So 2x equals 0, therefore the root is 0. Vertical asymptotes are whatever's left over. There's nothing left over downstairs. Horizontal, 3 cases. Think about this case. Y-intercept is the number in back. Now look, there's nothing back here. So you can think of it as a plus 0. You look at these two numbers, 0 over 1. It's going to be a 0. let's not worry about the f of x line for this. Let's just graph it. And we can use our calculator to help us for this. Make sure you use parentheses. Since this canceled out, I got y equals 2x, which is a line. So the y-intercept is 0. The slope is 2 over 1. So it goes up 2 over 1. That's how come at 1, 2. There's a hole. And it's going down like this. This is x, this is y, this is fx. We could check it on the table if you wish, but this is what it looks like. Let's try another one. Back to the top, back to the bottom. X plus 5, x minus 1. X plus 5, x plus 1. Go through and see if you can fill in the pieces. This one's a little different. All right, let's find, this crosses out. That's the holes. So the hole is at -5. -5 something. So I take the -5, I plug it into whatever's left. So -5, -1 would be -6. -5 plus 1 is -4. Reduce it down, +3/2. Upstairs, that's the roots. The root is x equals 1. Downstairs, vertical, x equals -1. Horizontal, 3 cases, bigger downstairs, y equals 0. Bigger upstairs, there is none. Same power, that's this type, it's the ratio of the lead coefficients. So you look at the numbers in front. There's a 1 in front and a 1 in front. The ratio of the front numbers, 1 over 1 is 1. So this is y equals 1. If we look at our graph, we can see the asymptote is actually up here at 1. So crosses here at 1. The vertical is at -1. Back numbers. -5 over +5 is -1. That's my y-intercept. And it crosses here at -1. So as soon as I see this crosses here, well, that means this graph has to be down here like this. Goes like this. And a lot of times you'll see this symmetric. That could be a little nicer. And then this one's up here like this. Factor the top, factor the bottom. When you factor the top, you should get x plus 4 times 2x minus 1. And the bottom would be x plus 4, x minus 4. That's the easy one. X plus 4's cancel. It tells me it's a whole. So the whole's at negative 4. Negative 4 something. I take negative 4. I plug it in to what's left of the problem. So 2 times negative 4 is negative 8, minus 1, negative 9. Negative 4, negative 8. So this whole is at negative 4, positive 9/8, because negatives cancel. Oh, that's not good. We forgot to draw the hole on this one. Sorry about that. There's a hole right there. Vertical asymptotes. Whatever's left downstairs. X minus 4. Therefore, it is x equals 4. Root. Whatever's left upstairs. 2x minus 1 equals 0. Therefore, x equals 1/2. Horizontal. If bigger downstairs, y equals 0. Bigger upstairs, there is none. Same power, same degree, which is this case, lead coefficients. There's a 1 downstairs. 2 over 1 is 2. The horizontal is y equals 2. Y-intercept. Look at the back numbers. Negative 4, negative 16 is positive 1/4. So let's put this all together. So what do we got here? We have vertical at positive 4. Horizontal at 2. We have a whole at negative 4, positive 9/8. That's over here somewhere. 9/8 is just a little bit over 1. And so, and what do I got here? I got a root at 1/2. So that's a root. Y-intercept's that a little bit, it's a 1/4. Real close to that. And this graph wants to head down to this asymptote. So go like this. And it wants to head up to this asymptote like this. Let's not forget the whole this time. So negative 4, something like this. So negative 4, there's a hole. If I go to my table, I go to -4, it should say error. So let's type in -4, enter, error. Doesn't work. If I type in 1/2 or 0.5, we should get 0 because that's a root. If I type in +4, you should get error because that's the asymptote. So that all makes sense. And then my other part of the graph from the picture we saw is up in here. And of course we got a label. So this is f of x, this is the x-axis, this is the y-axis. So now we've gone through, we skipped drawing the number lines on 4, 5, 6, 4, 5, and 6. Please go back now and finish the number lines. So finish the number lines. And just a heads up, this will be collected on Wednesday. Just to make sure that you actually copy down the work. And make sure you hand in your quiz that you had on Monday. There will be no lates. And that's it. So finish up your work, get it done. I'm collecting it tomorrow, and have a great day. Thanks. Bye.